We're finna learn something educational today. Poison arrow hunting
In this video,
Africa.
you'll see how Africa's last hunter-gatherer tribe makes a toxic poison to kill their prey. Poison
I saw
that can
somebody
take down
recommend that. I was
animals
like, why not?
like this.
This is insane.
Even though hunting here is an ancient practice, the Hadza have developed sophisticated tools to take down anything from a delicate bird to a towering giraffe. On my third and final day with this tribe, I'm on a mission to dive deeper into this hunting lifestyle.
Do you think you will live this way the rest of your life?
That's what they do. What type of question is that? Nigga, that's what they do. You feel me? Like, the fuck type of question? They've been doing this for generations. Why would, you know what I'm saying?
But first,
they haven't changed
breakfast.
now. They haven't changed yet.
A modest breakfast of leftover monkey meat will sustain them until lunch.
A couple nights ago, there was a hyena in the camp. You guys have a clip springer just hanging from a tree. Are you ever worried about animals coming into your camp to take your food?
No animal they're afraid because they have bow and arrows, so they can shoot with their bow and arrows.
Here, making and refining bows and arrows is the morning routine. Those who acquired the monkey's tails from yesterday's hunt use its skin to decorate bows and keep any split in the wood from
They
spreading.
slit part of the skin in half, and then they slide it down onto the bow staff. They cut it off, and so it creates these little like ringlets. You know, it looks really cool. I mean, the monkey probably wouldn't be a fan.
Others start new bows from scratch. While there is no rule against women hunting, Hadza bows draw between 50 to 100 pounds of force, which restricts most women from participating in the single mode of hunting used here. However, the bowstrings are only made by women, traditionally using the ligaments of large animals.
And then on this side, they're making kind of a small bow. Where will these bows end up?
They give to their little boys.
Bows and arrows are the first toys a Hadza boy receives, a practical gift to prepare them for the brutal hunter-gatherer life ahead.
You know, nearby you is the Datoga people. They're very pastoral. They have a bunch of animals, cows, goats, and so on. And you interact here and there. What do you like about your lifestyle versus what you witness or what you see from the Datoga people?
The special thing for them is to hunt. They like to live in this life. They don't want to be changed. But they like other people like Iraq or the Toga because they get some stuff from this tribe.
Despite living a nomadic hunter-gatherer life, the Hadza maintained a trading relationship with neighboring tribes. Tobacco and metal arrows are valuable goods they can only get through trade. But a Hadza arrow is more than just metal and wood. Shaving, heating, and straightening is required for all arrows. But each arrow has a unique tip suited to hunting a different creature. Gofufu walks me through his personal collection.
Damn, they gonna lie. That post. How can these niggas be doing all that shit, bro? Like, while they're talking, it's crazy.
No idea what else he just said.
He said, I'm going to explain about the different arrows. This one, it's called
Undundua.
This is like a corn cob and then just kind of a piece of wood.
They use for the small birds and also for the small animals like squirrel, the bush baby, and the sound of the bird.
Damn.
Said when they shoot it, the bird is still alive. Just take it and bite her to finish, and then they put under the belt. This one they use for the rock hyrax, and also they use for the mongoose because you can see the small things here.
Right, there's like a hook.
When they shoot small animals, so they can pull from the hole or inside the caves. This arrow is called
damn, bro, that cluck is mad fucking loud
They
too.
mentioned two animals and they use for this arrow. The one is bush pig. When they shoot the bush pig, so this arrow is very sharp, so it's going inside and destroy inside.
This nigga look like he having fun describing this shit, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like, they look like he having fun.
Storytelling. What is the biggest animal that you've ever seen hunted?
The big animals he killed is antelope. He talk about this
Antelope. Oh, I remember.
arrow
I
they
know what
use for the
antelope
big animal, the poison arrow.
Poison is what allows a Hadza to transform simple arrows into a deadly threat for larger prey. But Where did they get the poison?
That monkey look adorable.
And how did they make it? Equipped with a steel pot, the hunters head into the nearby forest. Here, each member attends to a different task. On one side, Landa, the sharpshooter, and Dunha, the mentee, start a small fire. A little further away, Ufufu is crafting a wooden stake. Watch Abba and Sakura inspect a desert rose tree. This tree will soon become a deadly poison capable of taking down a giraffe or a zebra. Back at camp, the women warm up their outdoor kitchen for lunch prep. The remaining klipspringer from the previous day's hunt is portioned. The rest is tossed back on the tree for future use. Quimbley checks for any remaining poison in the meat. If it's bitter, she spits it out and moves on.
So, hey, hold on, like, they just tasting wild meat and shit like that? Like, are they used to this? Like, can they not get sick? Because they kind of used to this or something like that? Like, what's up? Like, have they grown accustomed to tasting wild meat and all that?
Use.
Like, what the fuck?
Quimbley checks for any remaining poison in the meat. If it's bitter, she spits it out and moves on. That bitter toxin is the same one these hunters are making now.
Okay.
I thought it would be something that's in the leaves. Maybe I've seen too many movies. They're looking for something that's within the tree, almost like a sap, a latex type material. They're gonna extract that and then somehow convert that into a poison that can go on the tip of an arrow and then hopefully into an animal.
Using the stake, Ch'aba pierces the tree. Though this desert rose tree is native to Africa, most who pass by it would never guess the dangerous compounds that can be unlocked from within. With a piece of cloth, they squeeze the tree's pulp, retrieving its liquid. Back at camp, the chopped klipspringer is washed thoroughly and brought to a boil. Quimbley carries out the tedious task of skimming any hair from the water's surface.
Okay.
A few steps away, the dogs enjoy their own morning treat.
What the fuck is that?
In the forest,
bro?
things are also heating up.
The poison, it's in the pot. They had to boil it for about an hour. It's not exactly about making it hot, but about boiling away the water. That way it'll become thick and they can actually properly apply it to their arrow tips as needed. Since we have the time, I wanted to ask the chief a few more questions. First of all, what makes a good chief?
The best hunter who hunt a lot of animals.
That little like he in
Hunter
the
here? Can you say
late
that?
20s.
Say yes.
Mid to late 20s.
Do they agree? I'm curious because you guys hunt so many different types of animals, even in just the time I've
fuck
been
with the
here.
hair,
You've
though.
got 3 monkeys. But you know, it takes a lot of time for animals to reproduce, to grow, especially to become viable for
monkeys
consumption.
look
Over the
adorable.
years that you've been hunting or over your lifetime, is it harder to get animals now than when you were younger?
In wet season, they can find a lot of animals, but in dry season, sometimes they don't find it.
Centuries ago, seasonal changes didn't present a challenge to the Hadzabe as they moved according to animal migration. These days, the lands they once roamed are owned, protected, fenced, paved, or cleared for crops. If animals migrate into government-controlled reserves, they cannot follow. When the poison reaches the desired thickness, it's scraped from the pot. The hunters head back to camp.
I thought this camera angle kind of
Abba softens the poison
fucking my
paste by
head.
rolling it in
Like,
ash. The hunters head
This shit
back
right
to
here.
camp.
Oh no, give me a headache.
Abba
Like
softens
that
the
one
poison
scene.
paste by rolling it in ash and smashing it with a stone. They carefully wrap the paste around the arrow behind the tip. Once the arrow pierces an animal's skin, the poison will absorb into its bloodstream, dropping smaller animals within minutes and larger animals sometime over the course of the day. While the men finalize their weapon making, the women finish meal prep. Markalitico washes the cooking pot inside and out, the very same pot used to cook the poison. Ugali is a corn flour mixed with water and stirred until it's solid and smooth like sticky mashed potatoes. It's a common staple in many parts of Africa. But how did it end up here? In fact, how did this isolated society acquire steel pots, genes, or even the permission to live and hunt amongst the animals in Africa's wild? Allow me to pull back the curtain. In order to preserve the Hadza way of life, Tanzanian authorities and NGOs have provided them with substantial goods, including corn flour, salt, the clothing they wear under their animal hides, and even nylon for bowstrings. In addition, the Hadza are the only people not taxed by the national government. Just for myself to come here, I paid for pricey permits that directly fund efforts to sustain this fading culture.
It is my final meal with the tribe here. If we were in the US, this would be enough meat for about 2 people. They're not eating huge quantities of meat. It's almost like they just want to flavor the ugali and enjoy just enough meat to get enough protein and enough satisfaction. But you don't see anyone really gorging themselves on meat alone. The chief has offered for me to partake. This looks like part of the backbone, maybe? Part of a shoulder blade? Oh, this... Maybe it's dry aged on the tree. It is super gamey and actually tastes a lot more like mutton or goat or something like that today. And grandmother picked out a lot of the hairs. Well, there's a handful of hairs still on here. Have you ever gotten sick from the food you've cooked?
If they feel like stomach ache, they can find their local medicine.
I know they moved to this spot about 2 months ago, and eventually they're gonna move to the next spot. When will you move from this camp to a different camp?
It depends. If they still find the animals around, they will still live in the same place. But if not, they have to move.
About every quarter, Hadza groups move camp to avoid overhunting or foraging in any one area. But the more their hunting land is lost, the sooner their culture will be squeezed out of existence. But hope is not lost. By 2011, the Hadza were entitled to 57,000 acres of land. It was the first time Tanzania had ever recognized a minority tribe's land rights. Those numbers pale in comparison to their ancestors, but the Hadza are the land, and as long as there's land, there's hope.
One last bite with the ugali. I got some of the broth here. Not bad. That is it for me. It is bittersweet. I've learned a lot, and I know that I also know almost nothing. There's just so much here. It's so different. It's so unique. It's such an interesting lifestyle.
The Hadza carry with them a living history. I don't have to wonder how man survived thousands of years ago. Here, I can see it for myself. Far from superficial expectations and modern gadgets. Here, I've found humanity in its purest form. It's contained within the interactions of those who lead you, those who help you, and those who need your help.
I do want to attempt to say in the local language, thank you. Obea. 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 Ja'aba. Obea. Best Ever Food Review Show is a small team of independent creators, and everything we do here works because of you guys. Click the link in our description to join our Patreon and receive exclusive.
Patreon.
Obea. Ube. Ufufu. Obea. 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 Ube. Doing my best. Ube.
Ube. Oh, damn. Hold on. Okay.
Doing my best.
Doing
my best. Doing my best.
Fuck. Fuck, how the fuck, yo? Damn. But how the fuck did he do it so fucking loud though? Like that nigga be doing that shit OD loud. Damn.
Doing my best.
Damn.
Ube.
Opa é cucu.
I
Opa é.
don't even know how you make that sound. Okay, watch this, Hope. Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do the water drip sound? All right, see? We all got our own things.
Nah, he got it.
All right.
Opa é
Slightly
cucu.
better.
Before wrapping up, I'd like to thank
Okay,
our expedition
okay.
leader, Adam, translator, Yusuf, and local fixer, Gumbo, of Experiential Travel.
Gumbo's been our local fixer. He does fixing and production in several different countries here in Africa.
Shout out
So
to them
I'll
niggas,
put his
you feel me?
information here. Contact him if you'd like to do pretty much anything in Africa. He can make it happen if it's legal. That is it for this one. There's nothing else to say. You've seen everything on the screen.
I ain't gonna lie, them niggas seem cool though. I ain't gonna lie, like I've seen some tribes before, like not in real life, but you know what I'm saying. I've seen some tribes on the YouTube before, and most of them niggas, like to be honest, they seem cool. They be doing their own thing and they be vibing and shit. You know what I'm saying? They be staying out the way of everybody else, but you know they seem cool.